In this video, I will be giving you the best point guards, the best shooting guards, small forwards, power forwards, lockdowns, centers, whatever you guys need. I really put everything together in this video for you guys, so whatever you need going into Season 3 of 2K25 will be in this video. You do not want to be making trash builds in Season 3. Watch this video through and you will find a dominant build in 2K25. What's good? We are back with another 2K25 video. With Season 3 here already, I wanted to put you guys on to the very best builds you can be making in the game. I have something for you at every position. I pulled some of these from other videos that I've made, but if they're in this video, that means I still think they are the best at that position. I got a couple different options for you guys at point guard, depending on your play style. But other than that, I'm gonna be breaking down every build for you guys. So make sure you're watching all the way through. I explain a lot in this video. I really am putting you guys on those, so drop a like, drop a sub for me, and turn those notifications on. We're still going crazy all through 2K25. Not wasting any more time, let's get into this first point guard build. So for this first point guard option, yes, I have two of them in this video. The first one is a 5'9", the other one's going to be a 6'3". I've been loving my 5'9", so let me break this down for you real quick. We're going to go position point guard, height 5'9", weight 175 pounds with a 6'1" wingspan. Some of these builds I'll break down by attribute category, but I know a lot of people are hating on 5'9", so I'll just show you this one real quick. We get a 75 driving dunk, which gets you a ton of athletic dunks on a 5'9". I actually dunk way more than I thought I would on this build. I also went with a 94 midi and a 94-3 because I'm going to put my +5 cap breakers on my mid-range to get it to 99. Having that mid-range on 99 gives me all legend shooting badges. I have a whole video on this build if you guys want to check that out, but I've been absolutely dominating. The only thing I don't get on legend is limitless range, but once I hit veteran 2, I'll be putting my other +5 on 3-point. Then I'll have every legend shooting badge in the whole game. Playmaking, we start out with legend lightning launch, which is crazy fast this year, and I also put +1 onto my ball handle to get that to 95 just to unlock that Steve Francis. We are getting level 40 cap breakers, so that's where that +1 is coming from. 71 pass accuracy, more than enough. I max +1 my dimer to get that to gold. I'm throwing steamers. My passes are still fast. 92 perimeter, 91 steal. We are not a slouch on defense. We get good contests. We get a ton of steals. You really just have to know how to play defense on this build. It's kind of a skill gap. And then our physicals are absolutely nuts. 91 speed, 88 agility. We're going to be dexing off ball. We're outrunning everybody else on the court. And I will be using my Season 3 +1 cap breaker when I hit level 40 to put on speed, which will then give us Hall of Fame slippery off ball. So here's the 5'9" build for you guys. I've been absolutely loving this one. Like I said, I have a 6'3" option for you. This is my favorite out of any guard build in the game. But if you want something a little bit taller, I have a 6'3" for you right now. All right, getting right into the physical attributes here. We are going to go point guard, 6'3", and I already know what you're thinking. You've seen a ton of 6'3" guards this year. Trust me, this one is different. I haven't seen anybody do what I'm about to do. And if you have, let me know down in the comments because this build is actually insane. I was shocked when I found it. But anyways, we are going to go with 170 pounds and a 6'7" wingspan. This is by far the best physical setup. I looked at a ton of different stuff for these 6'3s, and I even looked at 6'4" and 6'2" guards. There just wasn't anything quite as good. Not too much more to say about this though. Trust me on it. Let's get into the finishing stats. All right, here we are with the finishing. We are going to go with a 74 close shot, 78 driving layup, 89 driving dunk to get those contact dunks, and then we're going to go with a 41 standing and a 36 post control. Now, this first version of the build is going to be the build that I get cap breakers on, and it's absolutely nuts, but if you're not going to get cap breakers or you don't think for some reason you're going to hit starter 3, I am going to include a non-cap breaker version at the end of this video. So if you want to, you can check that out. But trust me, if you have any chance at getting starter 3 at all, you're going to want to make this first version. It is way better. But getting back into it, for our finishing badges, we are going to get Silver Float Game, Bronze Paint Prodigy, Hall of Fame Aerial Wizard, and Bronze Layup Mixmaster. So we're going to be knocking down a ton of layups. If you haven't done it already, make sure you're turning on real player percentage layups. You make way more than trying to time it this year. I know real player percentage is crazy, but it goes in way more, so make sure you're turning that on. 89 driving dunk is going to go ahead and get a silver posterizer and also unlock a ton of different contact dunk animations. I have a couple builds with this 89 rating, and it is very good this year. I enjoy dunking. I like getting contact dunks, but I don't really want to invest too much more than this 89, especially on a guard build when we want to get high ball handle and three-pointer. Not to mention what you're about to see later on with our defense is crazy. Like I said, have not seen it on a guard build this year. Rounding out the finishing though, the standing dunk's not going to get us too much with that 41, but it will help us get a few more animations if we get stuck under the rim. And then the 36 post control, not going to do anything. It just ended up coming up with other stuff we upgraded, so don't worry about that. This isn't even the craziest part of the build. Let's check out the shooting. All right, getting right into the shooting here, we are going to go with an 83 mid-range, 93 three-point rating, and an 86 free throw on this build. Now listen closely. These are our current ratings, but as I said, I am going to use cap breakers on this build. And once you hit starter 3, you get 5 points to use. I will be using 1 point on my three-pointer right away to get that to a 94. And I'll tell you where I'm using the other 4 later. But the important thing is to remember I am using one cap breaker point, getting that 3 to 94, and that is going to get us all gold shooting badges, gold Deadeye, gold limitless range, gold mini marksman, set shot specialist, and shifty shooter. Not to mention unlock us a ton, if not any jump shot animation we want in the game. I haven't found a jump shot yet that I want to use that has a higher rating than this, especially on a guard. Everybody's using Cam Thomas anyways. And once you have that really good jump shot and all these gold shooting badges, that 83 mid-range is going to feel a lot higher. You're going to be shooting insanely consistent on this build. And all we had to do is use one cap breaker point. Now, like I said, stick around to the end if you want the non-cap breaker version. Not quite as good, but I do have an option for you guys too that will not be hitting starter 3. Rounding out the shooting though, we are going to go with a 86 free throw. Going to knock those down super consistently. I haven't had any trouble with free throw this year, so this should be more than enough to get the job done. Getting into the playmaking, again, listen very closely. I'm going to be using some cap breakers here also, but we do get a 71 pass accuracy, 91 ball handle off rip, and a 91 speed with ball. Now, if you did not know, every single dribble move in the entire game is unlocked at a 95 ball handle, so that is where I will be using my last 4 cap breaker points. So once I apply those, I will unlock that Steve Francis as well as every other dribble move in the game. And I'll also have gold ankle assassin, Hall of Fame handles for days so I can dribble forever, and gold unpluckable on this build. Not to mention, we don't have to add any cap breakers to our speed with ball. We already start with a 91 to get the Hall of Fame lightning launch, and I will be using my max +1 on that. So on this build that's already got insane stats, we will also have legend lightning launch. And then again, just talking about pass accuracy real quick, I've talked about it in all my other videos. 71, more than enough this year as long as you're throwing smart passes. It's also going to get us bronze break starter and silver dimer. You're going to be throwing very good passes still on this build. I don't really see any point in going any higher than that unless you're playing like Comp Pro-Am. But seriously, just use some IQ when you're throwing passes, and 71 is plenty this year. We've seen some offensive heavy point guards like this year, but where my build sets itself apart is the defense, so let's check that out now. Alright, as you can see right off rip, these are some insanely high defensive stats for a 6'3" point guard. We are going to get a 67 interior, 85 perimeter, 91 steal, and a 63 block on this build. The interior is only going to help us get off-ball pests, but even though it doesn't give us more badges, just having this rating higher will get you more stops in the paint. Play hands up, play straight up contest. You're going to get a lot more stops having this on 67 compared to if you didn't upgrade it at all, so it's definitely worth it, and it's pretty cheap on these guard builds. 85 perimeter is going to get us everything we need on this build. Silver challenger, silver on-ball menace, silver pick dodger. Getting those contests on the perimeter, you don't want to get shot over super consistently. So having this up to an 85 will get you way more stops, make people miss more shots, get a little bit bumpy. We do have a little bit of strength and some pretty good agility on this build, so having this perimeter defense will get us more stops. And you're going to be locking people up pretty consistently. They're not going to expect it from a smaller guard, but it will happen. 91 steal is a great spot for gold glove and gold interceptor. This is exactly what I was talking about earlier. Being able to use those cap breakers on our playmaking and shooting allows us to have more points to mess around with on defense, and it changes our build completely. This is why I was saying if you have any chance of getting starter 3 at all, you're going to want to make this first version, because we're also able to round this out with a 63 block, which, like I said, same thing with interior, doesn't unlock you any badges, but it will help you get blocks. The rating's still important even if it doesn't unlock a badge. I'm absolutely loving the defense on this build, super well-rounded, and I'm not even trying to hype myself up, the best point guard build I've seen yet this year. Not only are these stats crazy though, we get some insane physicals on this build, so let's check that out now. Here it is, we do end up getting an 87 speed, super fast. We're going to beat everybody up and down the court. This is also going to help with off-ball dexing. So if your center catches the ball and you're trying to get open, you're going to be able to outrun everybody else. A lot of defenders only have like an 85 or lower speed this year. So being faster than them is a huge advantage. 80 agility also going to help with a ton of defense badges as well as a couple of our shooting badges. You're going to be sliding your feet super fast, going to help you get a lot of stops. 50 strength is going to help us win a few matchup battles against lockdowns. It's going to help us get more blow-bys, more bumps on defense. Having a little bit of strength is definitely beneficial. And then 80 vertical, like I said, I want to be able to get all those contact dunks. And it's also going to get us better lane steals, better everything. Honestly, vertical is very slept on this year. It's a really good attribute to upgrade. And if we do end up getting our second set of cap breakers, you could always upgrade the driving dunk to a 93 with those to be able to get the next level of posterizer. Get even more contact dunks. Honestly, if I hit Veteran 2, which I plan on it, I will probably put it on driving dunk. Get us those extra contact dunks with that gold posterizer and make the build even better. Let's check out the build name for this one real quick, and then I'll walk you through the version of no cap breakers. Again, make this one if you can, but I do have that second one for you, so let's check that out right after this build name. All right, and for the build name, we do get a two-way 3-level shot creator. Nothing special. I've seen it a whole bunch of times this year. But honestly, the way this build plays, it's worth taking the build name that's not as cool. Not too much to say about this. Let's check out the non-cap breaker version of this build real quick. All right, and here's the non-cap breaker version. Like I said, all we did for this one was lower the steal a little bit. Ended up putting some of those attribute points. I wanted to make sure to get the 92 ball handle so you unlock more dribble moves and you get a few extra badges. Dumped a few more points into standing dunk. Not too much different, but we did have to start with that higher ball handle because you don't get the extra attribute points. Still an extremely solid option for a build at the guard position if you guys are not going to get those cap breakers. This next build I have for you guys is a shooting guard 6'4" lockdown, so let's get into that now. Already 6'4", way faster than the 6'7" locks, even if you have the same speed. We end up getting a 90 speed on this build. I had a 90 speed 6'7" lock, and it's just way slower. In previous years, the taller builds were faster no matter the speed because they got across the court faster, but this year it is the shorter builds that are faster. In my opinion, if both builds have a 90 speed, they should move the exact same, but that's just not how it is. There's been 2K Labs tests, all kinds of stuff to prove that wrong. Enough yapping. Basically what I'm getting at is these shorter builds are faster, they're better lockdowns, and it's way better to guard those 6'2" or 5'9" guards that everybody's playing against in the stage. But we do have some weight on this build also, which is going to help us get a really high strength on our lockdown build. Definitely necessary. And then a 6'11" wingspan to go with our 6'4" height and 233 pounds at shooting guard is going to give us the best possible setup that we can get on a lockdown in 2K25. So getting right into the finishing on this lockdown build, as you can see, we get 80 driving dunk. I went with this for a very specific reason, but let's start with the badges. We get bronze posterizer, bronze aerial wizard, and bronze float game on this build. But the main reason I upgraded finishing this way was to get the Devin Booker dunk style, which is amazing this year if you didn't know. It's the entire reason I went 80 instead of 75 like a lot of people are doing. In the corner as a lockdown, a lot of the times you're going to need a back cut or get open. And if I'm back cutting, I want to be able to dunk every single time. It's going to help you get better animations, finish more, and just overall help the team be a better lockdown. I also went ahead and put up standing dunk up to a 45. You get some good standing dunk animations around this rating. Again, gonna help us on those back cuts, just get better animations under the rim. And any build I make, I want to have at least a little bit of dunking. There's been a few I only go layup, but being able to dunk on the fast break or just dunk when you're open is way better to me. And like you saw in the clips and heard in the intro, I wanted to be a heavy offensive pure lockdown. You'll see as we get through this build with how crazy the defense is that I really cracked the code on lockdowns and made the best one. Like, I'm super happy with how the finishing turned out, and this isn't even the best part of the build, so let's get on to the shooting. On to the shooting, we are going to go with a 79 mid-range, 89 three-pointer, and an 81 free throw. Now, if you're making a 6'6" or a 6'7" lockdown, you can't even dream of having a three-pointer this high if you want to have any wingspan left anyways. We are basically max wingspan on this 6'4", and we still get an 89 three. We get silver Deadeye, silver Limitless, gold set shot specialist, and silver shifty shooter on a lockdown build. That's crazy. We're also going to unlock a ton of different jump shot animations with this. I'm personally using KPJ base. It's a starter for jump shot base, and it's amazing this year. In my opinion, it's the best in the game, and we do unlock it with this 3-point rating. I keep saying it, but this is another reason why I chose this over the 6'7" lockdown, because no matter how good of a shooter you are, with that 79 3 you get on the 6'7" locks, you're gonna be missing more than you will with an 89. It's just how it is. And being able to knock down more consistently on offense is super important to me, especially in like comp games. So I love this 6'4" lock for how good it is at shooting. But I'm going to say it again, this is not even the highlight of the build. Let's get on to the playmaking, and then finally the defense where this build really shines. So for the playmaking, we end up going with a 71 pass accuracy, 70 ball handle, and a 75 speed with ball. This is going to get us bronze break starter, silver dimer, silver strong handle, bronze unpluckable, and silver lightning launch on a lockdown. It's also going to unlock us all of the pro dribble moves. This isn't any kind of dribbling or any kind of ISO build, but I still want to be able to move a little bit, like if I catch it on a back door or if I'm running up the court. I don't want to be a snail. I don't want to get ripped every time I touch the ball. Being able to move a little bit, especially with the driving dunk we have, just going to make the build way better. If we get into a position where we need to run to the hoop, we're actually going to be able to on this build, which is a huge difference compared to like how centers don't upgrade ball handler or speed with ball at all. I don't know, that's the only example I have, but you want a little bit at least just so you're able to run and not be completely stuck every time you touch the ball. 71 pass accuracy is also what I've been putting on almost all of my builds. It's more than enough, especially at lockdown. You don't want to waste too many attribute points on that. Definitely gets the job done. The passes are fast. Just use some IQ when you're playing. And lane steals got nerfed, so you're really not going to be throwing that many of them. Overall though, some solid playmaking for a lockdown build. Let's get onto the defense. Finally, onto the defense where this build really shines, and you might be looking at that 94 perimeter, but let me explain. I will be putting my 5 cap breakers on perimeter to get that to a 99, and then I will be using my level 40 cap breaker on steel to get that to 96. So once cap breakers are applied, this will have a 99 perimeter defense and a 96 steel, along with a 68 block, 80 interior, and a 60 defensive rebound. And then I do plan on hitting vet 2, should be coming in a few weeks here, which I will then use to max out my steel and put some more on my speed and agility. I love the thought of builds getting better over time, so I left some room for that. But even with the base level first few sets of cap breakers, you are able to get really good defensive stats, as well as physicals. You guys are going to see in a minute, our physicals are crazy. But once you get the perimeter defense to 99 with the cap breakers, you'll have legend challenger, legend on-ball menace. We start with legend immovable enforcer because of how high our strength is, and we also have Hall of Fame off-ball pest, so people aren't able to backdoor us. The steel rating before cap breakers, you get gold glove and Hall of Fame interceptor, but once you put 1 cap breaker on, you get Hall of Fame glove. And once I hit Veteran 2, I'll have both of those on Legend also. The amount of steals and bumps you're getting on this build is crazy. The defense is just so good. And the speed, you can see it on the bottom of the screen there, having speed on 90, being able to beat people to spots and then bump them, get around the court, grab lane steals out of the air. The combination of defense, speed, and strength we have on this build makes it so overpowered. And you did see in the clips, we got a few blocks on this build in the first few games we played. We do get bronze high flying denier, which I used my max +1 on. It's a tier 2 badge on this build, so I can use my tier 2 max +1, get that to silver. It helps you get chase downs. You're not going to get beat off the dribble often, but you're so fast you can chase it down and block it if you do get beat. And then I also went ahead and went with a 60 rebound. We get bronze box out beast and bronze rebound chaser on this build. Just going to help the centers out. If they get boxed, you can go grab rebound. And I've also seen, like, if guards drive on me, I make them miss the layup. I have a higher rebound than them, so it's not a 50-50 ball. They are not getting the rebound when we're in the paint together. Super cheap attribute that actually helps a lot in game, so I definitely wanted to get that to at least 60. Defense, absolutely nuts on this build. Let's get on to the physicals, though. It gets even crazier. I mean, just look at this. 90 speed, 90 agility, 92 strength, and a 65 vertical. Now, the 65 vertical, the lowest one, obviously, we will not be jumping out the gym, but we do have enough to get the Devin Booker dunk style, which is really what I was going for. It's enough to help us with rebounds, to help us with blocks. 92 strength, though, is going to help us get legend immovable enforcer off rip. It's going to make you super bumpy. You're going to be able to stop any build in the game. Obviously, if you're going against like a massive post scorer or something, they're going to be able to shoot over the top of you in the paint, but you are able to bump everybody. And then the 90 speed and agility, you're able to get to spots way before people. In the rec, I was running out on the fast break and beating everybody up and down the court. It makes a way bigger difference this year than I realized. And having these stats so high lets me keep up with like the little guards in the stage, or even in the park. There's so many people running 5'9s that are insanely fast, and I wanted to be able to keep up with them. And this build does it. It really is an insane lockdown. You guys saw how crazy all of the stats were. I'm having a ton of fun on this build. It's super competitive. This is one of those builds that you can play at the highest level with, but you can also have fun on. And like I said earlier, I really like the name on the build, so let's check that out now. We are going to get shades of Alex Caruso, Dante DiVincenzo, and get the build name 3-and-D 2 guard. I really like it. It's a little bit different, and I absolutely love the build that comes along with it. Next up, we are going to the small forward position. I'm going to make a 6'6" lockdown type of build. Just a different option if you don't like the 6'4", but we are going small forward 6'6", 234 pounds with a 7'2" wingspan on this one. Not going to get too in depth breaking this down. There's a lot of lockdowns just like this, but I will explain my attributes and why I chose what I did. So let's get into that now. All right, so we end up going with an 80 driving dunk for the Devin Booker dunk style. We get an 85 mid-range and an 83-3, giving us a bunch of different shooting badges and super solid shooting for a lockdown type of build. We also get the 65 pass accuracy, which is what a lot of people are putting on their lockdowns. Passes with a 65 are still decent. You just have to have some IQ when you're throwing them. 70 ball handle and 75 speed with ball. You're not going to be a complete snail every time you touch it. You're going to be able to run up the court a little bit, help out the guards somewhat. Obviously, you're not a pure ball handler or anything like that, but you have enough to get the job done if it's needed. 84 interior and the 68 block are just going to help you get a lot more stops in the paint. 94 perimeter, I did cap break this to get 99 perimeter, giving us the legend perimeter badges. 91 steal, more than enough, especially on a build like this. If you wanted to, you could put your other 5 cap breakers on this to get to 96. With how much interceptor's been tuned down, I think 91 is a good sweet spot. 60 defensive rebound just to help your center out if he needs it. Gonna grab a few more of those. And then insane physicals, 90 speed, 87 agility, 90 strength, and a 65 vertical to get more blocks, more contests, more dunks. Speed's going to help you run really fast up and down the court. The agility is going to help you move your feet on defense. 90 strength's can give you a ton of bumps. And it's also going to help you guard people bigger and smaller than you. A very good lockdown build, very good option at small forward. We do get the build name Versatile Stopper on this 6'6". A really good option if you're looking for a build at the 3. But let's get on and check this power forward build out. All right, so for my power forward build, I went with 6'7", 263 pounds, and a 7'3" wingspan. This power forward, there's a lot of ways you can go with power forward. I ended up going with the popper type of build. So if that's not what you're looking for, I do have other power forwards posted, but there's just so many different options that you can go with on this position. And I just wanted to give you a good comp style power forward build. So if you want something that can compete at the highest level at power forward, this is definitely a good option for you. So let's get into the stats now. All right, and for this one, we went with that 80 driving dunk again to get Devin Booker, 81 standing to get the rise up on silver, 79 3 because on this popper build, you'll be able to shoot super consistently with a 79. Definitely gets the job done. There's a bunch of jump shots available for it. 65 pass accuracy, same reasoning as my small forward. You just don't need all that much pass accuracy, especially on a power forward build. Again, like I said, if you don't like this one, there's a lot of options to go with power forward. I've posted a bunch of them. There's a lot of people that have posted them. But this is just my take on a popper build. We have super solid defense, 82 interior, 85 perimeter, 85 steal, 84 block. You're locking up the paint. You're able to move your feet on the perimeter. You're able to rip ball handlers. You're able to get lanes. 91 defensive rebound. I did put my +5 cap breakers on that to get it to 96. That's going to go ahead and give us all the rebounding badges we need. We also have really good physicals across the board. Super fast for a power forward, but we also have the 94 strength. I will be putting my level 40 cap breakers on that from season 2 and season 3 to get it to 96. And then a 90 vertical just to out rebound all the centers. For the build name on this one, we are a switchable lockdown defender with Scotty Barnes and Jalen Johnson comparisons. This is definitely not my favorite build though. My favorite is the center that's coming up, so let's get into that one now. All right, so here we are in the builder. We are going to go position center, height 7 foot, 253 pounds with a 7'5" wingspan. Some of you might be concerned about the wingspan, but I'm telling you right now, I'm flying in. I'm out rebounding every center I play against. Like I said, averaging about 22 or 23 rebounds in the rec. This lower wingspan is really just going to help us get more 3. And with the lower wingspan, for some reason, we get more attribute points. So I was able to dump a little bit more into shooting and unlock some more shooting bases. That 7'5" wingspan is definitely the sweet spot in my opinion. And with the weight being at 253 pounds, we're still getting plenty of strength, so we're throwing people out of the way. I want to be bullying Nim in the paint. I'm really not trying to be the one getting bullied. That's all I got for the physicals. Let's look at the finishing. All right, so starting out with the finishing, like I've said a couple times already, this build is dominant in the paint. We are going to get an 84 close shot, 65 driving dunk, 90 standing dunk, and a 75 post control. That 84 close shot is going to give us silver paint prodigy, silver float game, and silver hook specialist. This paint prodigy badge is honestly a lot better than I expected after playing with it. And it helps you make a ton of standing layups like in the paint or like close to the paint. I haven't tried out hook shots too much this year, but I'm not usually a huge fan of them, so I'll probably avoid those. That 65 driving dunk, it's nothing crazy, but it's going to let you dunk when you're running to the paint and not make you stop and do a standing dunk every single time. But the real dominant part of this center is the 90 standing dunk. This is going to get you standing contact dunks. It's also going to get you gold rise up and gold aerial wizard. As soon as I maxed this out on my build, I started dunking everything. And also the standing dunk meter is really good this year, so if you're anywhere within 5 feet of the basket, you can dunk really easily, especially if it's a smaller defender. It seems like 2K really took into consideration the size of the person guarding you this year, so even if they have a good interior, you can dunk over them a lot of the time. Something else super important is going to be this 75 post control. This is going to give us silver post fade phenom, silver post powerhouse, bronze post up poet, bronze unpluckable, and silver hook specialist. This is going to be a lot of the badges that help us just back people down, drop step, any kind of post moves you want to do, that's what this takes care of. And it also gets us that unpluckable, so we're not getting ripped every single time. Depending how good Unpluckable ends up being this year, I might use that max +1 badge perk on Unpluckable just to get that to silver, make sure we're getting ripped a little bit less. But even with bronze, I haven't seen it be a big issue this year, so I'm not too concerned about it. Overall, very dominant finishing. Let's check out the shooting. All right, onto the shooting here. We're going to go with an 85 mid-range, 79 3, and a 69 free throw. Like I had said earlier, I went with this lower wingspan so we could get this mid-range and three-pointer up a little bit higher. And 85, I really do think is a sweet spot for mid-range this year. It unlocks a ton of different jump shot animations, and anything that I've wanted to use, I've been able to use on this build. And it's also going to help us get badges like Silver Deadeye, Silver Post Fade Phenom, and Silver Set Shot Specialist, which is basically like catch and shoot, corner specialist all wrapped into one this year. Anything where you're standing still, that badge is going to activate, and it's very good. I have a few jump shots on my page for builds like this if you need a jump shot, so be sure to check those out if you're struggling. And I also went with a 69 free throw because I play a lot of rec on this build, and I've got this maxed out, and I'm really not missing free throws with it, so I wouldn't suggest going any higher. At the beginning of the year, it kind of seemed like we need more free throw, but getting into it, we really probably don't. But to wrap it up, shooting's pretty on and off this year, so I wanted to get these stats as high as I could, and I'm happy with how it's been playing. And for the playmaking, really not all that much to say here, but I upgraded the pass accuracy to 87. The badges you're going to get with this is Bronze Bailout, Gold Break Starter, Bronze Versatile Visionary, and Gold Dimer. Your teammates are really going to be shooting way better off Gold Dimer this year. Especially, I've seen a lot of guards struggling to shoot, so this might help them out. But the main reason I wanted to upgrade it is because of those full court passes you saw in the intro clips. I want to be able to grab a rebound and wreck and throw it all the way down to my guard, get a rebound and an assist in the same possession. And as of the first few days with this build, I think 87 is plenty. I'm throwing dots. They're really fast passes. I haven't had any issues, and it's really not getting picked off very often. With how good Interceptor is, I was a little bit worried about it, but this is honestly fine. And then the defense. This is where this build really shines. You saw a ton of block clips. We're stopping everybody in the paint. We got an 82 interior, more than enough when you're 7 foot with a 7'5" wingspan. And then we also went with a 62 perimeter, 60 steal, 88 block, 94 offensive rebound, and 80 defensive rebound. I'm going to explain why I went with those rebound ratings in a second, but let's start with interior defense. This 82 is going to get a silver paint patroller, silver post lockdown, and silver off-ball pest. Along with the badges, having a rating this high, they talked about it a lot on Twitter. This rating, along with how big your player is what determines if you get stops in the paint, and we are really tall, and we have a high interior, so we should be getting plenty of stops. And then I went ahead and threw a 62 perimeter on there, so we're not lacking on the perimeter. We want to be able to get stops if we get switched onto a guard or something, or at least not get completely cooked. So we get this 62 perimeter, which gives us bronze immovable enforcer and silver off-ball pest. If you watch my other videos, you know that immovable enforcer is like my favorite defensive badge this year, so we want to make sure to get that. And then 60 steal, this is another sweet spot for the centers this year. It's going to get us bronze interceptor. You all know what good interceptor is if you've played the game at all. I don't need to say too much about that. But then we also went with the 88 block. This is also going to help us get silver paint patroller and gold pogo stick, which is really good again this year. And also gold high flying denier. I'm going to keep referring back to those clips because you guys saw it. I was blocking everything. I'd say I'm getting 2 or 3 blocks a game in the rec. And if I'm not blocking it, I'm getting a good contest and they're missing the shot. I'm super happy with how this build's been stopping people in the paint. Now for the offensive and defensive rebound, I ended up going with a 94. And listen, I went with a 94 because I'm going to use my cap breakers on it. I'm going to get a 99 offensive rebound, which is going to give me legend rebound chaser. So if you plan on hitting your cap breakers, I would go with the same thing. Otherwise, maybe go a couple higher. But as soon as I hit starter 3, I'm making that offensive rebound 99 to get that legend rebound chaser. And the reason I left defensive so low is because offensive is cheaper, and once you have the badges, you're grabbing them on defense anyways, and you're usually in a better position. Feel free to change this up how you want, but that's just what I went with, and it's been working really well for me. And then onto the physical attributes, not a whole lot to say here. I did end up putting the speed and agility just about as high as I could, while still getting all the other attributes I wanted. But I did go with a 91 strength to get us Hall of Fame box out beast. Which worm, I don't know if you guys know what worm is, but that's tied into it. It lets you throw the people boxing you out of the way and box them out. So this is going to be a really important badge to have on your center builds this year. But we're also going to get gold brick wall, which the screens this year are really good, and silver post lockdown, silver post powerhouse, and this is also going to contribute to our bronze immovable enforcer defensive badge. Being this big with this much weight, 91 strength is very, very good. And then to finish this one out, 80 vertical is going to give us, it's going to go towards our gold pogo stick, gold rise up, gold aerial wizard, gold high flying denier. Vertical really ties into a lot of different stuff, including your rebounds, as well as your dunks and your blocks. I just wanted to put it as high as I could while getting everything else I wanted, because I really want to be as athletic as possible on this build. And then for the build name, we're going to be a 2-way 3-level playmaker. Honestly, a pretty cool center name, I'm not going to lie. I've been having a ton of fun dominating on this build. I hope you guys enjoyed if you made it. All right, here we are at the end of the video. I appreciate you guys watching all the way through if you made it. Like I said in the beginning, I did pull some of these videos from other ones I've posted, but I do still think they are the best builds for those positions. So if you heard me talking in those and something seemed old or I kept repeating myself, remember I did pull other build videos that I've already posted. But I really put everything together in one video so you guys had all the builds, all the positions you could need. So go down there, drop a like for me. This one took a minute to put together. Let me know what you guys thought of these builds down in the comments. I'm going to keep dropping bangers all through 2K25, but this one is done, so I will catch you in the next one.